could turn their cameras on. I'm like mid-bite, like, excuse me? I need to eat my food. I move all my shit out of the way.
Gallery. There we go. Hi, Jenny.
Hey,
Hi.
I'm not showing my face, so this is
That's
all
all right.
you.
All right, that's all right. No worries.
I might start eating.
That's all right. How's your day going so far?
It's going slow,
It's going slow. Yeah.
the way I want it to be.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's Saturday. It's nice to have slow. Did you do the camp this morning?
No, today I took a day off.
Oh, good. Okay. Well, that's good.
Sometimes you just need to do that.
Oh, yes. You definitely need some time off. I agree. Yep, I was just checking, just wasn't sure. Oh, let's see if anyone else. The link is okay. So I'm just checking real quick to see. Making sure we'll give everyone a few more. It looks like a lot of people are going to do the recording. So
If you're recording this, I may just watch the recording.
yeah, I mean, if you have questions as I go through, you
yeah,
can,
yeah.
but I mean, yeah, well, you can just do it's up to you, whichever one you prefer.
Okay.
Yeah, these are always recorded and they're in the, I'm looking now, they're in the, they just posted that. Let's see. Yeah, so someone asked, is this recorded? Can't attend live. Yes, so it's going to be, the recording is under the files in the Rise videos and workshops. So if you ever wanted to go back and look at it and read it again or watch it again, or any of them that we've done the last few weeks, you can always watch it there. Because I know Brandon did a video that's recorded, it's in there. Barbie's done a mobility one that's in there. I did a meal prep and food talk that's in there, and then today's. So, all right. Well, it looks like we'll just go ahead and get started. Let me see what time it is. So 10:04. All right, we'll just go ahead and get started. Okay, so I am a nutritional therapy practitioner and a personal trainer. So this is a little bit out of my wheelhouse. However, I've attended quite a few talks on this subject. I have personally done a lot of work on this subject, so that's why I feel like I can give a little bit of insight onto some of the things that I have been told, some of the things that I have been working on. So today's topic, by the way, if you don't know yet, you just we're doing kind of 3 reasons why you can't stay out of the fridge, or just like the emotional eating aspect of life. So let's just go ahead and get started. So a lot of times, and I have my own notes, so I'm just gonna make sure I don't forget things. So a lot of times when we have emotional eating, there's for the top 3 reasons that we're going to talk about why we are drawn to the fridge or why we want to eat, and it's not always because we're hungry. And so the first reason we'll talk about is because we're seeking that dopamine hit. And so with the dopamine hit, it's that feel good hormone, that pleasure, it hits that pleasure center. And so some other things that hit that pleasure center is going to be like video games, drugs, shopping, gambling, sex, anything that kind of gives you that sense, that high feeling. And so food tends to be the drug of choice for a lot of people. It's going to hit that pleasure center, and it's the easiest to come by. And so what happens with that is that the body gets really addicted to those dopamine hits, and then it craves more and more and more in order for you to feel optimal, feel your best. Let me see. Oh, there we go. There's some more light. I'm in a hotel, by the way. This is not my house. We're in a hotel right now. My kids are swimming in the pool. Okay, so some things that you could do to help. So everything I'm going to talk about, I'm going to give you tips to kind of, if that's you, if you feel like you fall into this type, if you feel like you're seeking those dopamine hits, I'll give you some tips on how to like combat that. And so some things you could do for that instant gratification is, sometimes it's just looking at the food will kind of give you that sense of gratification, because if you're like me, if you've noticed, like sometimes you take a bite and that first bite is like amazing, but then all the rest of the bites after that are kind of like, yeah, like it's usually you're always chasing that first bite. So sometimes just looking at the food will kind of give you instant gratification, or maybe just that first bite and then you're done. You don't really need any more. But it really takes a lot of like channeling and like listening to your body and like tuning in, like, okay, I took a bite. And then generally, if you take another bite, it's never going to be as good. And so, maybe you take that second bite and you realize it's not as good. And then maybe you put it down and you realize, okay, got my dopamine hit and I'm good. But again, that takes some time. It takes some practice. It's not something you're just going to immediately be at. Okay. So have some grace with yourself. There's also delayed gratification. And so this one is, you go to the fridge, you think you want something, you open the refrigerator, and then I want you to close the refrigerator, give it 5 more minutes, walk around, do some other things. And then chances are within 5 more minutes, if you're still like wanting that particular item, you really want that food, then maybe you allow yourself to have that. But if after like 5 minutes and you're kind of like, yeah, I could do without, and you can, move about your day, you've distracted, you've gone to something else, then, that's kind of like that delayed gratification. So walking away. And then there's also what's called like a dopamine detox. And this is where, say like every single night after dinner, you have ice cream. And so maybe you kind of, and I talk about this in my focus meetings, is maybe we set our own little kind of rules around our vices or things that we do. Maybe it's late night snacking. Maybe it's, whatever that is for you. And so maybe you set rules instead of every single night I'm going to have ice cream. Maybe it's only one night a week I'm going to have ice cream, or maybe it's 2, whatever. And you can always drop yourself down. So maybe 7 nights, drop it down to 5 is a comfortable, scenario for you. And then maybe after you give it a couple weeks or a month, and then maybe you can like drop it down to like 3 nights a week. So it's basically just kind of teetering yourself slowly off of that dopamine hit. And so, or finding another replacement. So yes, you can still have ice cream, but maybe it's not every night. Maybe you make banana ice cream, or you make a smoothie, or you make something different on the other nights. And so you still allow yourself to have the ice cream, but you have those rules, if you will, around it. So that's kind of that dopamine detox. And so then we're going to go into the second one. So now we're going to go into, this is a really a big one, especially during the pandemic, is you have an emotional need and it's actually not being met. And so you are trying to fulfill it through food. And so think of it this way. Think of it, your best friend just, you just called up your best friend on the phone and you started telling her how you've had such a bad day, or it's just been such a hard day. And then instead of saying anything, she just hangs up on you. Okay. Like you'd be crushed. And so that's kind of what you're doing to your body, is you have this emotional need and you're instead of listening to your body, you're just like, hang up the phone. Like, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to address it. And so you like really tuning back into our body, into what we need is really, really important. So we kind of call this like self-care. But it's like really being internal, like listening to what it is that you need. So sometimes we're bored. Okay. You need entertainment. And so instead of finding something to entertain you, or, going play a game, or, something like that, instead you lean on food when you're bored, or you feel overworked. You're at the computer all day at your house. You feel like you need a break. You're overworked. And instead of just taking a breather, doing maybe a quick little meditation or just walking around, instead you go to the fridge for your break. Okay. So maybe this is, ringing some bells for some of you. This one might be a big one for, I would say, a lot of us, is we just have that emotional need that's not being met. And so some options that you can do, what I recommend is putting like a sticky note on the fridge, and it says, how are you feeling? Or, just something that'll trigger you to like check yourself. Like, Okay, I'm opening the fridge, but am I really hungry? Or do I feel lonely? Do I need comfort? Um, what I recommend never eating, remember I've talked about this before, do not ever eat whenever you are feeling stressed, if you are angry, if you are in a fight with your husband or your wife or whoever, or your kids. That is like the worst time to eat. Okay, so that's a no. Never, never, never eat when you're angry or upset. Okay, because you're in the fight or flight. You're not digesting any of that food, and it's just you're gonna start they'll start fermenting, and you'll get gas, and you'll start having bloating and all that stuff. So we don't want that. But have something on your fridge, like check in with yourself, ask yourself, okay, am I am I bored? Am I angry? Am I frustrated? Am I just needing a break? And instead of relying on food for those things, instead, some other things you could do is go for a walk. I know it's a little cold right now, but you could go for a walk. We do it. Just bundle up, go for a quick walk. Maybe you just need to do some breath work. Maybe you just need to take some deep breaths. There's some amazing things free on YouTube. You can do guided meditations, and they're real short, and you would get tenfold benefit from it. Okay, so the guided meditations, doing the breath work. Remember, we talked about in camp. Breathing into your belly, low and slow. If you're breathing shallow and in your chest, you're in stress state. You're not going to heal. There's a lot of things going on with that. So we want to breathe low and slow. So you can practice your breath work. Again, find a YouTube video on it. It's awesome. Great thing to do for your body. Other things you can do: play with your kids, throw the ball with your dog, your cat, call a friend for a quick chat. You could just do like a quick stretch. So there's all kinds of other things you can do that do not involve food. And so those things I just noted, maybe put that somewhere, put it on the fridge, give yourself some different options. Maybe not on the fridge, put it somewhere. Okay. Check in with yourself. How am I feeling? And then give yourself some different options to go take instead of, eating that bag of chips. Okay. Not that saying that eating the bag of chips is bad. All right. I try not to say things are good or bad. Because I'm a rebel, and if something is bad for me, I want to do it. All right. So know yourself. I don't know if you've ever taken the 4 Tendencies by Gretchen Rubin. You can take it for free. Go on her website, Gretchen Rubin, 4 Tendencies, and you will learn a lot about your personality, in the sense of there's an upholder who, what is an upholder? I think the upholder is someone that they can hold out external, if someone holds these are the rules, they can uphold those rules and internal rules. So they're really good at following diets. They're really good at following the laws, and be they're the typical worker. They're really good at okay, I will do that. But there's also the rebel, which can't, uphold to external motivation or internal. There's also whatever. There's 4 tendencies, and so it's really helpful to know what your tendency is, so that way you can kind of work with it. Like I said, if you're a rebel, then you're gonna have to have lesser structure. You might have to find some ways to bend and kind of mold. But if you're an upholder, you just set the rules, and you're more likely to follow them. And I can't remember the others. I'm sorry. there's 4. But that's a good thing to kind of look into. And it's interesting. I like those kind of things. All right. Where was I? Okay. So make a list on your fridge, or somewhere. Ask yourself how you're feeling. Check in with yourself. Have those other things that you can work on, the other things you can do. Maybe it's read a book, set a timer. You have 5-10 minutes to just read a book. So all kinds of things you can do. Things that you've been wanting to do. Okay, do that. Don't eat if you're not hungry. And so, yeah, so some other things, if you're feeling underappreciated, maybe you just need attention. And so tell your spouse, call a friend, let them know that you just need a little bit of attention right now. You're just struggling. Or maybe you're feeling anxious or overwhelmed. And again, instead of going towards food, which is very comforting, maybe you turn towards your pet and you just cuddle with them, and that's comforting for you. So this is really important to checking in, the internal environment, your internal dialogue that you're having with yourself, is really, really important. And be your own best friend. It's really, don't hang up the phone on yourself. You are your own best friend. No one else is there to take care of you. It's just you. Okay. So just know that we don't need to go to food to fill an emotional need. And just ask yourself, what am I really hungry for? Am I hungry for love? Do I need attention? And then how do I feel? So just check in with them. All right, so we're going to go on to our last one, and this is cognitive enabling. Okay, and again, I know this is a very common one for a lot of us as well, especially like we did a really awesome workout and we're like, well, I worked out all 6 days this week, so I deserve this cookie. Okay. Or, I worked really hard at work and I deserve this glass of wine. Okay. So that's cognitive enabling. And so the thoughts that you're having, the little conversation that's going on in your brain, is enabling you to have that behavior. Okay. So again, I know this is like ringing a lot of bells for a lot of you guys. I know me as well. And so it's the self-talk is kind of like, well, I deserve this, or poor me, I had such a bad day. And so I'm going to go eat fast food, or whatever it is. I don't know. I'm just making up things. Or I'm running late. So you're putting yourself last and you're not planning. So because I'm running late, I'm going to go through McDonald's and get their breakfast. Or, so it's really paying attention to the stories that you're telling yourself and, ask yourself, is this really true? Is it true? Am I really lazy? No, I'm not. I just didn't plan well, so I need to do better next time. So really making yourself a priority. And just because you won an award or you feel like you deserve something or you feel like you need a treat doesn't mean that you're like deserving of it. You're talking yourself into it. Now, my rule is there's no guilt around food. Okay. So if you've been in a focus meeting with me, my rule with food, and it's you choose your food consciously. Okay. So whether it is that glass of wine, the cookie, the steak, the broccoli, whatever it is, you choose it consciously. You're going to enjoy it thoroughly, and then you're going to let it go. Okay. So there's no guilt around food. I don't know if you know it, but if you are guilty around eating food, you are 30% more likely to eat more food and overfill and overdo it. There was an amazing study, and I forget how long ago it was, but what they did was they took two groups of people. I don't remember how many were in the group. Sorry. It's that information has escaped me, but they had two relatively large groups of people, and both groups, they had them eat this donut as fast as they could. Okay. So they ate a donut quick as they could, both groups. So they felt really full. They felt, uncomfortable as much as you would if you ate a donut as fast as you could. And then the group A, they started telling them how fat that was, how fattening, how horrible that's going to make them feel, and how bad it was for their body, and just made them feel really, really guilty about having that food. And then they gave them a bowl of candy. Okay. So they made them feel guilty, and then they gave them a bowl of candy. Now that was group A. Group B, they just gave them the donut. They didn't say anything to them. And then they put a bowl of candy in front of that group B. Group A was, I forget the statistic. It was like almost 9 times out of 10 more likely to grab more candy out of the bowl, even though they were full. They just inhaled a donut, but they were more likely to grab candy out of that bowl than the group that wasn't made to feel guilty. So, and the reason being is because when you feel guilty about something, you're just like, oh, whatever, I just did this thing, so I might as well just ruin everything and keep eating all this stuff, even though you're not hungry, you don't want it, but you just feel like, you've messed it all up, so you might as well just eat more. So guilt has no place in your life. Okay. Guilt makes everything worse. So you choose it consciously. All right. You're not enabling yourself. You're just saying, I want this food, and then I'm going to eat it. It's not because I deserve it. It's because I want it. And then I'm eating it. I'm thoroughly enjoying it. I'm not like watching TV. Okay. Have you ever eaten like, a brownie or something, or, whatever it is, the ice cream, and you weren't paying attention, all of a sudden it's gone, and you're like, oh man, I need another one. Okay. That's not enjoying it thoroughly. You just wasted that like experience. Okay. So enjoy it. And if you don't enjoy a food, do not eat it. Okay. It's not worth it. Enjoy the food that you're eating and then move on. Okay. So I go on rants on that. I'm sorry. It's passionate about it, guys. So with the cognitive enabling, it's important to pay attention to the stories that you're telling yourself, that you're enabling yourself to do. Okay. And this takes time, Noticing that the shame that you might have associated with it. And remember, shame has no place. It's not going to make you better. Think of it this way. If shaming ourselves made us better, we'd all be superheroes, right? We would all be super amazing. We'd be like the strongest, most amazing people in the whole entire world. Okay. Shame does not work. Okay. If anything, it backtracks us, it makes us worse. Okay. So get rid of shame, guilt, all of that, get rid of it. So no need to make yourself feel bad, because it just ruins everything. So let's talk about techniques to stop this. So it's called the STOP technique, STOP. So the stop, S, is stop what you're doing. Okay. So when you feel yourself enabling, this again takes practice. So you're noticing, I'm going to stop saying the thing that I'm saying. I feel myself starting to enable myself, saying I deserve this. Stop. The T, take a deep breath. O is observe what's going on. Okay. So check in. Okay. I just had a busy day at work. I feel like I deserve this. Okay. So I'm taking that. I'm stopping, taking a deep breath, staying in this moment, in this body. I'm observing what's going on, and then being open to what my thoughts and my feelings are. Okay. So that is the stop technique. So you can always stop yourself and then make a different decision, make a different choice. Stop the enabling and then just be like, instead of deserving it, I just want it. Okay. And then you're going to take the bite. And again, back to that first one, the very first, seeking that dopamine response. Nothing tastes as good as that first bite, right? So again, you took the bite, you're enjoying it. Maybe take another bite. It's not as enjoyable. Maybe that satisfied what you needed. Again, that takes time to build up to that. Some days you're going to want all of it. And some days you might just want the 1 or 2 bites, and be okay with either one. Okay, guys. So some other things, basically your emotions are your greatest wisdom. Okay. So by, again, hanging up the phone on yourself, you're not learning about yourself. So it's your greatest wisdom. You're able to tap into who you are and what you're needing. And it helps you take care of you. So it's like, it's one of the most important things that you can do for yourself. So listening to your inner dialogue. You ultimately have control. You do. You have control over your inner dialogue. So you're choosing the conversations that you're having. Yes, you're choosing the conversations that you're having. So you can always stop the conversation and decide not to have that conversation in your head anymore, but it's always a choice. So is it something that it's going on in your head? Is it something that you would say to somebody else? What is you say that out loud to a friend, what you're thinking in your head? And if you wouldn't say that out loud, you shouldn't be saying it to yourself either. And you have the conscious ability to stop saying it. Okay. So I want you to clean up your inner voice. When you start noticing, okay, I'm starting to go a little negative. I'm looking at myself in the mirror and I'm saying something I don't like to say. I wouldn't say that to somebody else. I'm not going to say it to myself. Okay. Because where your attention goes, energy flows. So if you're focusing on what you do not like about yourself, you will get more of that, right? I'm going to say that again in a different way. If you're focusing on all the things that you do not want to have in your life, you're giving that attention, okay? And where attention goes, energy flows. You're going to get more of what you do not like. So if you're focusing on how overweight you are, if you're focusing on how you do not eat well, what's going to change? Nothing at all, okay? Focusing on what you see good, focusing on how strong you are, how you made a good choice at lunch, how you felt really great and you felt energized. Okay. Focusing on the things you want more of will give you more of that. Okay. So cleaning up your inner voice. When you're sabotaging your inner voice, when that inner voice is negative and critical, you are sabotaging your entire world. Because of that energy flows concept, your attention goes. Okay. It is all interconnected. It really is. And so when you're feeling guilty in that moment, I want you to think, what was my last thought? What was I just thinking? I was probably shaming myself for eating X, Y, and Z. Stop shaming yourself. Okay. Make the conscious decision. You chose to eat it. Be okay with that. And then enjoy it. Move on. Okay. So again, check in. Whatever, if you're feeling guilty, if you felt anxious, check in with that last thought you just had. And then know, okay, I was thinking about something in the future. That's not helping me in this moment. That's giving me anxiety. Let's stop that conversation. So always the stop technique is there. You can always change it. And then also ask yourself, is it actually true? Is it always true? Okay. So when we have, so there's a wonderful podcast. If you guys want, I can link it. But it talks about soft talk words. And when we are using like one day or maybe or sometimes, I can't think of the others. There's like 10 or 12 soft talk words. But when we're using those in our vocabulary, we are basically making ourselves not decisive. So if you're saying, one day I'm going to be organized. Are you really? That's not like, it's not an actionable word. One day, take out one day. Today, I'm going to be organized. Okay. And you just take that step. Or I think I'm drinking too much coffee. Well, take out the think. I am drinking too much coffee, because you know you are. If you're saying I think, take out think. Okay. It's a soft talk word. And it's actually putting you in indecisiveness, which actually makes you weaker, and it makes you less confident as a person, and it makes you into the stress state. Okay. So the words that you're saying really, really matter. Okay. And it is so important. So trying to remove the negativity around the words that you're speaking, remove the soft talk, the maybe, the should haves, the one day, the sometimes, the even like she always does blah, 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 blah. Okay. Generalizing something is also really harmful to you and to the relationship. So that's another talk I can actually talk about as well. So if that's something you guys are interested, please let me know. And maybe we'll do another talk about our language, because that is also something I'm very passionate about, is our language and the things that we say to ourselves and even to others. And the things we say out loud are so important, because our words are like spelling. We're spelling, but we're spelling like spells, if you will. So what you speak, what you say becomes reality in a sense. And so really being mindful of what we're saying out loud and in our head. So is it true? Is it always true? And, judging yourself won't get you anywhere. Okay. Again, like I said before, if we're always judging ourselves, which we have been probably, it hasn't helped you so far. So let's try to change. Let's do something different to get something different. Okay. Let's see, what else do I want to talk to you guys about? Oh, deprivation. So a lot of times we deprive ourselves of food or of, X, Y, and Z. Like I did this, so now I don't get to do this. So we deprive ourselves. But that's a selfless act that is damaging to self. It makes you like a victim. It makes you like the poor me. That makes you like, oh, you come last, and you should be your own priority. You should be very important to yourself. And so deprivation is no place. We want to remove deprivation, the idea deprivation, and like that shame around it. And value you. You are the most important person, because if you're not here, you can't help anybody else out. Okay. You are special in your own ways and have value in that. You are important. So you get to choose your new belief that you want to have, and then you accept it as true. Okay. So you take on a new belief, and then you have to accept it as being true. You don't debate it, you choose it. Okay. I have notes all over the place. Let's see. Oh, I love this one. Okay. So I know a lot of you, we've been in focus meetings before. I've heard you talk about it. Food rules your life. And I want you to think, who would you be if you weren't always thinking about food? You'd probably be happier, maybe more creative. It'd open up more time, space, freedom. You might be more productive. And so I want you to give yourself permission to be done with obsessing over food. You make the conscious choice, you decide, and then you do it. Okay, your thoughts become things. Choose the good ones. So you can't be on autopilot when you do this. Okay, you have to take the wheel. You have to do the stop technique. You have to check in, internalize. What are you feeling? How are you doing? What are you saying to yourself? You are not in the passenger seat. You have to take ownership of your life. Nobody else can do it for you. Okay, this is your life. And let me see if there's anything else. Basically, yeah, just have awareness. Start there. Have awareness around what you're thinking. If it helps, have a journal, keep it nearby or on your notes on your phone. And like I had one client that I worked with one-on-one, and she really struggled with the negative self-talk, and she wasn't able to lose weight because of it, because she always made herself feel guilty, and she had this shame around everything she was doing. I'm not working out hard enough. I'm not eating clean enough, and it was always, I'm not enough. I'm not enough. I'm not enough. And so I tasked her, and maybe I challenge you if you have that same feeling, is you start writing down your internal dialogue, So as you catch yourself, I want you to write it down. What did you just think about yourself? I opened the fridge and I looked at something and I felt like, oh, I'm fat. I looked in the mirror and I thought I look ugly. I looked in the, whatever it is. And I want you, when you catch it, I want you to write it down. At the end of the day, I want you to go back and read over those thoughts that you caught yourself thinking, whether they are positive or negative. Whenever you catch it, write it down. And I want you to go back and read over it at the end of the day. And if you're not proud of those thoughts, if you wouldn't say those to somebody else, then it's time to start changing the dialogue. Okay, it's not benefiting you. If it hasn't gotten you where you want to go by now, it's not going to get you there. So again, you have to change, you have to challenge yourself, you have to get uncomfortable to get something different. So you got to do something different. And you can listen to this as many times as you want. You can come for a focus meeting and we can talk about it more one-on-one, because it takes work. I am not perfect by any means, but I have worked through this. Before I had kids, I was at my first marriage. By the way, I've been married twice. My first marriage I was very much in a very bad place. I obsessed over food. My husband at the time wanted to make me perfect and wanted to control everything that I ate. And I had a very, very bad relationship with food. And it took a lot of work. It took a lot of work to get where I'm at. A lot of self-love within my head with what I'm saying when I'm saying out loud. And again, I'm not perfect, but I'm working on it and I have the tools to get you there. Okay. So if this is something that you struggle with, please reach out. Okay. You don't have to struggle alone. It is a thing, and we don't have to do it. We don't have to continue. So just know that I've been there. I've had some extreme cases. I literally feel like I've tried and done almost everything just so that way I can help people go through it too. So if I can help you avoid some of the heartache and the pain that I have gone through, then I hope that I can do that. Because that's what I think I'm here to help with, is experience it so that way I can help you not experience the same things that I did. So think of it as, in closing, think of food as nourishment. Okay. It's not a form of punishment. It's not a form of reward. It is a form of nourishment. Every single cell in your body is made out of the foods that you eat. Actually, rather, the foods that you digest. Okay. And be intentional with your choices. Be mindful around food. Don't just haphazardly eat food because you need to eat it. Don't just put whatever is around you in your mouth. Okay. Make conscious choices and don't be an autopilot. Okay. Autopilot. I hope this was helpful, guys. Ask your questions, and I love you all. Jenny, do you have any questions since you're the only one on right now?
I don't. This was really good. Thank you. You said a lot of deeper things that I never really thought of, and I'm actually going to go rewatch this.
Good. Awesome. I
like-
love that.
So I can like rewind it and hear
Yeah.
it.
And you know what?
know,
I
and
highly
understand.
recommend take notes. Because I touched on a lot of things. And so sometimes, because for me, like I have this notebook. This is like my personal, like when I hear a quote that I really like, or when I'm learning about something new, I write it in like my notebook. This is my notebook. And it's even got little dividers. I don't say you have to do it my way, but do however. And what I do is I write myself notes and things that I need to work on. And then when I have moments of quiet time where, you know, maybe I am wanting to comfort or whatever it is, this is my method. I sit down and I read my notes again. I'm like, oh yeah, I got to work on that, you know? And so, or sometimes just the actual writing things down helps solidify it back in the brain too. So
yeah, I do have to, if I may chuckle at the part where you said I did not have a good relationship with food.
yeah.
I have a really good relationship. It's my best friend.
Oh.
Actually, my daughter said that.
Oh.
too good of a relationship.
Yeah. Is it because you rely on it for comfort? And
I rely on it for everything that you said.
Yeah.
I feel like you're talking about me.
Yep. And know that you're not alone. I mean, everybody, especially pandemic, everybody's relying, and then it may not even be food. It could be wine, you know, it could be, you know, a lot of different vices that were picked up. But now's the time that you can change the thoughts. You know, you can change and find something else that's going to help you get to your goals and make you feel better versus, you know, that dopamine. Yes, you're going to feel good in that moment. And then it wears off and you either need another dopamine hit or you feel guilty or you feel crappy.
You just feel crappy. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's like a cycle.
I don't like how I feel afterwards. It's in the moment.
Yeah. In the moment, you're like, this is amazing. This dopamine is the best thing ever.
Thank you.
You're most welcome. All right, guys. Well, if you're watching if you're watching the recording and you do have questions, just post it on the members page. We can even start a thread if you have questions and we can just start it from there. If you want more clarification or you want me to go in more detail, we can do more, you know, maybe my Wellness Wednesdays, we can go in a little bit more detail on some things, or we can just keep talking about it because that's how, you know, that's how it kind of helps solidify it in your brain and your mind is if you just keep hearing it and keep doing it. So if that's something that is interesting or something you find helpful, please let me know. All righty, guys. Well, I will see you when I see you. Love you all. Bye.